Welcome to the College CEO Podcast, where we teach students how to blow up their brands and their businesses. I got a personal favorite here in front of me, Drew Friedman, not only my editor, but also our first feature as a high school CEO. Breaking stereotypes. I remember when I was 17, I didn't have the best life decision. I didn't have the best plan in front of me. Drew over here is breaking that stereotype. Drew, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Appreciate you having me on, Jacob. Yeah, I'm Drew. I'm a 17-year entrepreneur. Have a few businesses, personal brand, and have some sales experience. So I appreciate you having me on today.
Hasn't even graduated high school and a serial entrepreneur already. Easy to take things off. Well, I know we've spent a lot of time together, but these guys unfortunately don't know that. Haven't heard your story is the part that I want to share. So how did what was kind of the beginning of kind of you're getting into entrepreneurship, and maybe give some of your background, like, where you go to high school, that type of stuff
so
too.
I was going to my freshman year, and so I played basketball, go
Bearcats.
basketball team, so I was bored, had nothing to do, so the NBA Finals just happened, so I'm like, I'm making a basketball edit.
Okay.
So I started picking up the CapCut, started making some basketball edits, and I made like 2 or 3, and they didn't really do anything, so I'm like, all right. I still play basketball, getting ready for the season.
Was this during COVID?
No, this was after COVID.
Okay.
So a few years after, like 2021.
Oh, okay.
2022,
okay, so 3 years ago, okay.
Yeah, so I made it. It was like the last 2 weeks of summer, made it. Nothing really went off. And then it was my first week in high school, my first ever week. And so I made this video.
As a freshman?
Yeah, as a freshman. So I'm a big LeBron fan, right? I'm a LeBron fan.
Bandwagon. Oh my
I'm
God.
a LeBron fan, and
You're my sunshine.
Like all the videos on like TikTok and stuff, they're all posting about like Michael Jordan and stuff. And I was like, I'm a LeBron fan. There's no one posting about LeBron. They're all saying like Michael Jordan's the GOAT and all that. I was like, there's a gap right here. I'm gonna post a LeBron video. So I made a video and I posted it in the morning. And we're not allowed to have phones at school, so I posted it in the morning. I posted it. I'm like, all right, let's go to school. And I'm chilling in class. It's like second period, and I hear my phone's like buzzing on my backpack. I'm like buzzing. Like every 5 seconds is a buzz. So I check it in the middle of class, and it's at like 300 likes. And like first 45 minutes. So I'm like, oh shoot, this one went off. And so I kind of just let it go for the rest of the day. And like by the time I was out of school, it was at like 4,000 likes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so that kind of just hooked me. I was addicted to that feeling of going viral. I'm like, okay, well, this content's working, obviously, and I was a freshman, so I'm posting about basketball. Yeah, so, and then
found an under-tapped market, why not?
Yeah, and so I just kept posting like that, and it just kind of took off. Never really stopped there, and it literally just became my life. Like, I didn't care about anything else. If I wasn't doing school, I'm pretty sure, I
remember you were telling me just like at lunch, no one's sitting around, you're just grinding out edits.
I didn't care. That's all my life was. So
wow.
I was still playing basketball, but if I wasn't playing basketball or school, I didn't care about friends, nothing. I was just no life on TikTok editing. Yeah, and I did it at lunch and did it when I got home. The second I got home, I got no sunlight, no exercise. I'm in my room making edits like 12 hours a day.
Is after school workouts and then straight to editing, right?
And then I'm pretty sure I just didn't practice basketball that much. I literally and then I didn't make the team at the end. It's like they said, hey, we gotta let you go.
You're kidding.
And I was like, all right. I was freaking 15, so I was like...
At that point, did you even care at that point?
No, I didn't care. I mean, I was a loser. I was like, all right, let's go. And so, like, I literally just... The second I got to school, I'd finish my work as fast as I could, and I would just make edits. Wow. And then my principal, he had a talk with me. He's like, hey, everything good over here? We got good? I'm like, oh, yeah.
You got called out by the principal?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, bro, I'm grinding this account.
They probably thought you were the Unabomber, man. Yeah. You're just alone, staring at your phone.
I didn't talk to anybody at all. And then and it just kind of took off from there.
Holy.
And then the word got out, I had an account, and I was kind of not really bullied, but I was kind of like teased about it.
I'm sure. No surprise there.
I was kind of the loser on TikTok.
So how long, how many followers did you have when it came out, and how long did it take to get to where you are now, roughly 30K?
Yeah, so I had like the first, after that viral video, I probably had like around 1,000.
Okay.
And it took me around like a month to hit 10K. So like,
Oh, wow.
After
Okay.
I had that
That's
first,
quick.
after I had that first video take off, it took me like a month to hit 10K, and then the next like 3 or 4 months of school, I grew to 20 or 30K.
Wow.
So yeah.
So by what, Christmas break, you're at like
Yeah,
20,
I was probably around 30K.
And the next school year, probably at 30, roughly?
Yeah, roughly
right?
around there. And yeah, my entire freshman year, that's all I did was
Wow.
last blitz. But it gave me some important skills, right? It gave me the skill of editing, which I'm using for you now.
Yes, which is great, by the way, and our clients love it
And
too.
it just, it taught me how to make like compelling videos, and I was able to get some sponsorships from that. And so, yeah, it really helped me.
Yeah, I know it's been going well for college CEO content. We actually started not scaling down, but we started making the videos simpler. I don't know. You were telling me you don't feel like you're doing enough on the new ones.
All right, cool.
We're gonna have to split. We're gonna have to split test the content. So that summer, after your freshman year, did you keep doing edits, or did you do anything else, or was it just like, hey, no life, I'm just gonna focus on edits again?
Yeah, that's what I kind of want to slow down. I kind of slowed down.
Can't blame ya.
Now I was switching schools to Aledo, and so I was like, oh, there's be some big
I
kids.
didn't know that you went to anywhere before Lido.
Yeah, I was actually at All Saints. So,
Oh, no way. I had no idea. Yeah.
That was my freshman year, and I was switching to Aledo my sophomore year. And I really wanted to just like get ready for basketball season. And I knew I was a smaller kid. There's some big kids there, so I'm gonna start working out. And so that's kind of when I transitioned from like no life, TikTok. I mean, it was my life, like all I did. But I kind of transitioned.
Was editing?
Yeah, so kind of transitioned in like other parts of self-improvement. And so I started like working out, taking my health seriously. And I was still making videos on the side, but I mean, that's really what kind of got me into self-improvement and kind of got me into other business ventures. So I started working out, started getting in shape. And that kind of just helped my mindset and everything. Going to sophomore year at Lido, and that kind of allowed me to make other businesses happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know, especially for me personally, like if I have a busy week and I'm not working out that week, I'm drained.
Yeah.
Like because I have to get up early for class too. So by the end of the day, I'm just totally wiped by like 7 p.m. I was telling Cody yesterday, I wasn't able to get a morning workout in, and so by like 7 or 7:30, I think it was. I was just like, I was hitting the wall. And then we went, and I beat him at horse.
Right.
So. Well, I had to immortalize it, man. It's here forever now. So now you're talking, and so you can beat me at horse. I have not touched a basketball in 4 years until last night. So, but no, it really is true. Like if you take your fitness seriously, you will do better, and that same level of discipline will seep into other areas of life too.
And like a lot of people, when they first start business, that's kind of like the first thing they give up, right? They find this business and they see some success and they go.
I'm working so much,
right? And they just let themselves go, right? They go all in on their business, and I think the problem with that is like. Fitness is like an easy win. It gets you a win on one front. So let's say you're starting a business and it's not working out so well, right? If you're not in shape, well then you're dedicating 12 hours a day into this business and it's not working, and you're winning on no fronts of your life. So you're out of shape. You're spending all this time dedication to this business. It's still not working out, and you're out of shape. So you're more likely to give up. Whereas if you just tone down maybe from 13 hours, maybe you did 10, you focus a little bit on going to the gym, get some sunlight, eat well you're already winning on one front. So even if your business isn't working, you already have a win right
You're still stacking up small wins.
And it makes it easier. And like it gives you more energy, right? So the more you work out, the more you take your health seriously, you have a higher output than the person who doesn't do that. Sure, if you can let yourself go like Elon Musk and still be successful, right? Elon Musk, he's out of shape, right?
Look at Jeff Bezos, though.
Right.
The dude's jacked.
Right.
Oh my God. He's probably on gear, but even so.
He was out of shape too, but even, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, they're all like,
oh my gosh, Zuckerberg?
So
it's like doing the whole wrestling thing. We still need the billionaire cage match too, but
like physical, your physicality is really important, and they're realizing that. Even if you have money doesn't make who you are. So these people, they're billionaires, and they're like, oh shoot, I need other stuff besides just money. So that's why even Elon Musk is training with these famous people, and and the Mark Zuckerberg is.
I mean, the guy who really popularized that. So about another influencer, Andy Elliott started really popularizing that when he started talking about the whole 6-pack or you're fired thing that blew up. But it's kind of swept a wave with kind of those micro influencers and some of those mid-size influencers, the kind of 100K range, and some other CEOs as well. And then people were starting like, oh yeah, like you should definitely work out. Like it's a standard. Like it's not an option. Yeah.
Yeah, and like even like when you're doing a business deal, if you go in there and you're in shape, it shows that you have respect for yourself.
True. Yeah.
And it shows that he can trust you more, right? If you take care of yourself and you're in shape it shows that you have dedication and discipline, and it shows like that it's unspoken, right? So naturally you're gonna be more trusted. It's just gonna benefit you and everything.
Yeah. No, there's literally no downsides to it. And for most people, it's not even in the conversation.
Right.
I remember when I was running my my first and second, actually, and kind of my third, but I was still a little bit more active then. My first and second Cutco branches, I stopped working out because like, man, I'm too busy to work out, which is totally a lie. An entrepreneur's greatest asset is being able to make time.
Right.
And, I really deep down, I just refused to do it. And so by like 7 p.m. every day, or really by like 6, I'm literally dead.
Yeah.
I'm not productive whatsoever. And I'm convincing myself that I have to stay at the office for another 2 hours that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I already got there at 7:30 or 8. I already worked a full day. And then I decided to work 2 extra hours where I get basically nothing done. So, but if I was energized and if I had worked out that day, I already have one tiny win to kick off the day.
Yeah.
And then it just parlays into the rest of my day.
And even if you make it to the top of the mountain and you're a billionaire and you made it, right? If you make it to the top and you're like about to die, and you're like a coma in a hospital bed, you take your health seriously. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You made it to the top and then
all for naught. Yeah.
Right. And like money doesn't make who you are. You make money, so it amplifies who you are.
Absolutely.
So if you hop
that's a bar. Right. That's a bar right there.
If you hop out of a Lambo and you're some like skinny little twerp, like you're like a mega nerd now.
Yeah.
Like it just makes it just amplifies who you are. But if you get out of a Lambo and you're some big jack dude, like you're like the boss now, like you're the guy.
Yeah, literally.
So
you had no life, total loser. I'm using your words here.
Yeah.
No life, total loser. Went to 10K, 20K on TikTok and Instagram too. Did you ever do Instagram stuff?
I like 10K
a little bit.
Instagram.
20K and 30K on Instagram. Got ripped. What was next after that?
Yeah.
What was the next venture?
Really, I started doing door-to-door sales. So I was like, okay.
Right. Which, by the way, you didn't work for a door-to-door company, right? You just started going around knocking doors.
Myself, yeah. So I was like, okay, I made some money off of TikTok, some sponsorships, but it was nothing really crazy. And
just like product shoots and stuff. Yeah,
some sponsorships from commission. But I really wanted to start like making some money, and I wasn't able to get a job. I was 15, so I mean I didn't know what to work for. So I'm like, all right, I started reading some financial books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and all that.
Classic.
It's like, hey, you gotta start knocking doors. I'm like, all right, but that was the first time I did it. I was shaking. I'm not really.
Did you just start going around your neighborhood or?
Yeah, after school, I'll just do it for like 30 minutes.
And so what gave you the idea to do door to door? Because I know it's, you could have gone and worked at a fast food joint. You could have gone and worked for Cutco like I did, but you chose to just get up and start knocking doors. What drove you to that decision?
Well, it was really like Rich Dad Poor Dad, like Robert Kiyosaki. Like I read his book and it was talking about how like he wished he would have started door to door earlier. And he's a real big successful guy and like real estate and all that stuff.
Billionaire, yeah.
And he's saying like, just door to door, be able to approach someone, a random stranger, and sell them in front of you. It's an extremely important skill, and most people
completely agree.
They get in their head and they're not able to properly sell them because they're so nervous. So if you can get over that skill, if you get that skill and get over the fear of rejection, right? Just getting rejected as an entrepreneur, you need that skill.
100%.
So I was like, all right, well I'm young, I have nothing to lose, so I'm not. And I was so bad at the start, man. I was some of those like small. I just started working out, so I'm still like some small like 15-year-old walking through the door. And I knock, I'm shaking, I'm like, I stuttered, and I messed up.
What type of reactions did you get? Did they have any sympathy, or was it like a get off my front porch and slam the door type of thing?
Yeah.
Or were most people a little sympathetic?
Most people were a little sympathetic. I saw some guys. The guys were kind of harsh. The dads.
Oh yeah, no surprise there.
They're like, nah, they're
bye.
brutal,
Yeah.
But yeah, that got me out of my comfort zone a little bit, and it just allowed me to pursue.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, drastically different than anything you'd done before.
Yeah.
And then you started washing cars, right?
Yeah.
That was the product, right? So, or the service.
Yeah, I remember my first car wash. That's why I sold, and I was like, all right, it doesn't take a lot to do. I need like a sponge and some soap, right? I didn't have a lawnmower. I couldn't mow lawns.
Couldn't buy a pressure washer,
Yeah, and so it was like low barrier to entry. So I'm like, all right, cool. I remember the first one I did. It was like a full car wash and inside and outside for $30. It took like 3 hours.
Oh my God.
All that working like $10 an hour.
All that just to make $10 an hour, literally.
Yeah, plus getting them, and I wasn't even selling at the start. I was like an order taker. That's what Indian
Oh,
really
okay.
calls it.
You're just looking for laydowns?
No, yeah. So I would just knock on the door, and then if they gave me a rejection, I wouldn't even try to overcome it. I'd be like, all right, have a good day, right?
Really?
I wouldn't have a conversation or anything. I would just knock, and then I would say my line, and then I would wait for them. It's like a gamble, waiting for them to respond yes or no.
Wow. No objections.
That was the start, but I obviously got lucky, and some people wanted it, so sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you knock a full day,
Yeah,
I mean, you're bound to see a couple people,
Yeah, someone's gonna say yes, even if you're a trash salesman.
Yeah,
right?
literally.
And then so I got a few for like 30, and then I started upping my prices to like 60, 70, 120, 150.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's really why I started making like the big money.
Actual money,
selling
yeah.
the 150s, and then I learned how to like overcome an objection.
Did you up your prices and then learn how to overcome objections, or was it the other way around, or was it just kind of went along together? There's no real defining moment.
Yeah, I learned how to overcome objections, and then I raised my price. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I first learned how to get someone to say yes. So once they gave me that first objection, it's not really an objection. They're just trying to. It's like a smoke screen. They're not really.
They don't know you.
Yeah, they're just trying to get you off your door. And so if you realize that they're not actually not interested in the product, they just don't know you. So if you realize that, you can overcome that first objection.
Yep.
And then just earn the next 30 seconds, right? So they go, hey, I'm not interested. Like everyone's not interested until they hear a great deal, sir.
Yep.
So let me go give you a quick estimate real quick. And then just earn the next 30 seconds.
Dang, another bar, man.
So if you earn the next 30 seconds, and then that gives you the opportunity to sell them like later in the sale. So
Wow.
Yeah.
And was there, I know for your sales philosophy, was there like, did you do any sales training courses? Was there a platform? Was it just like, you're just pick up tips that you're scrolling on TikTok and Instagram?
Oh yeah, on Instagram, that was really like the main thing.
Really? No formal training, just strictly regurgitating
training.
Instagram tips?
Yeah, it was a lot of Instagram tips. I stole some like sales scripts. These guys would go up there and they would knock, and so I would just steal their script. I'm
Like the window washer?
Yeah, that guy, Josh
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah,
Josh.
that's the one I stole from. So yeah, and I used this script and it worked out pretty well. And that's when once you go from like the $60 range in your product to like 150, that's when you
start needing real skill.
Yeah, that's when you start making some decent money from it. So.
And did you, when you raised your price, obviously there are less laydowns. So now if you were to go knock for a day and you were to do it at a $200 price point, for example, are you getting any laydowns at $200, or is it all like you're having to handle these objections?
Like lay down.
Oh, just like the people who the first time you asked, they're like, sure, let's go. That's a laydown. Like a laydown. Like they just lay down and give you the sale.
Yeah, it definitely was harder once you raise your prices, right? But you gotta learn how to like price drop. So say at a higher price and then take it down from them. And then I lost a lot of like my initial customers because I'm doing it for 30 for them, and then all of a sudden I'm raising it to 200. And I got better at washing cars. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
And then but I lost all my initial customers because I'm raising these prices up, and they're like,
That's a different market.
hey, yeah, but I've been doing it for a few months and I got a lot better, right? And it's taking me a lot of time, so I raised my prices. And then that's when I really got into the issue of like I have too many people to do. Right, I didn't have enough I couldn't fulfill these orders.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, so that's when I started to look into an employee and hiring people to go out there and fulfill it for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. So then you scale a team. What kind of how long have you been doing it for when you got to that point where you're kind of like,
Around a year, right? Yeah. So I was 15, and then right when I turned 16, I think that's when I started getting a team around me and be able to scale it up.
Okay.
And so and then that was the main thing. I would go out and I would get the sale.
Yeah.
And then I had my brother, my friends go out there. I'll send them out there, and so I'm not wasting any time fulfilling these orders. I'm having just a sell, get the sale, and then have them do it. So I'm not wasting any of my time, right? I de-linked my time for the money.
Did you ever try hiring other any canvassers for you or door-to-door guys for you too?
I'm thinking of doing that right now, but just the hardest part's training them.
Yeah, and making sure that they're actually proficient. They're going to represent the brand well on the doors.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the hardest part is training them. But washing the car, you can train that pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a skill anyone can pick up, right?
Like once you de-link your trading time for money, once you de-link that, so I'm still doing it a little bit, so I have to sell, but I'm not fulfilling the orders anymore. And you can scale a lot easier doing that. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think anybody, even if you're working a job, like anyone working a 9 to 5, like after your job, if you just go knock doors,
for 30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, and it's like a job a day is like $100,000. So if you're selling $200 products,
not a good job today.
Yeah. But if you sell one job a day and fulfill that, you're making $100,000 a year. And so I think even if you're not selling a job today, even if you're working 9 to 5 after your work, if you go out and knock doors, it gives you the opportunity to make an extra 20, 30 grand a year.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy.
Easiest way to supplement your income there. Yeah, man, I know. Yeah, that's ridiculous. So whenever you started recruiting these guys, what was it like? Were you just telling some friends like, hey, I have too many car washes. I started knocking doors. Like I started getting too many. Can you help me come wash these cars this weekend? Or was it like a formal like, hey, I want to interview you for this position in my company? Right?
Yeah, they kind of like, they saw me doing well. They saw me like getting a little bit more clothes. And I kind of splurged a little bit. They saw me, they're like, bro, how you doing all this? I'm like, oh, I'm just washing cars. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, can I do it for you? I'm like, yeah, I need some help, honestly.
Really?
And then after I got like the first few employees, I started talking to everyone in my school, trying to get them like, hey, I started just talking to people because I knew
always be recruiting.
They might be an extra employee I can use. So yeah, I started talking to everybody in my classes.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, get to know them, and then like, hey, I have a car washing company. If you'll come work for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. That's ridiculous, man. And so you started marketing, right? Going door to door, generated some sales, learned fulfillment, eventually started recruiting and training those people to take over the operations side of it, or at least the fulfillment process as well.
Right.
All of this, right, as a 16-year-old?
16,
15,
now,
16, roughly 16 at that point?
I was probably around
right?
16.
And were you promoting this at all on TikTok, or were you keeping that page strictly for edits at the time?
Yeah.
Or was this kind of just on the back burner by then?
Yeah, I wasn't really using that page anymore. I kind of rebranded it now to a personal page.
Yeah, I saw you rebranded to personal. I know we talked about that last year.
Yeah, I had a Facebook page. I had like 500 followers, and I would start to post on there like my results. So I would have them finish a job and then take photos of their job and post that to Facebook.
Interesting.
And that's just free advertising, right? And you have a little basic sales copy in the bio. And then I was starting to get a few people on social media. And like that's really where it can really take off. Because if you're no longer have to knock doors, you're getting referrals.
Yeah, you just get referrals. You don't have to knock anymore.
Yeah, like then my fulfillment's done, and you can just get all the sales from social media. And that's really when you de-link your time for money. Yeah. That's really become free, and you don't have to.
You start multiplying your efforts.
Yeah, I can be on vacation and be getting clients from social media and having them fulfilled in person with my employees.
So let's talk numbers. I'm curious to hear some of the numbers, and I'm sure the audience is too. So if you went and knocked on, I'm guessing this was like a weekends thing, right? Or maybe like an after school type of thing. Weekend, So in a normal 7-day period, let's assume no rain, 7 days of knocking, what did your income look like for that? And then what did your gross income look like? What were the expenses roughly? How much were you paying out to employees? And you can just ballpark these numbers if you don't know.
Yeah, I was probably making around like $1,000 a week. From this. So
$1,000 a week working part-time in high school. That's crazy.
That's in the summer though. But like once you get into school, it's kind of harder. So,
okay.
Right. So it's probably around like $2,500, like $2,000 in the school year, because I'm having to knock after school, and that's from like 4:30 to like 8, I'd say. So that gives you a lot less time to knock and fulfill. So
you're making $2,000 a month or a week.
I was probably making like $2,500 a month from during school. But probably when I was in the summer, I was probably making around $4,000. So
wow, okay.
Yeah, but it's just a lot harder when you're in school because you're having to knock and fulfill all after when the sun sets and stuff.
With a super tight window too, and your friends are less available. Those same employees are less available because they got other stuff going on too.
Yeah, they're in sports, and that wasn't profit. That's not including like the price to drive their gas and then
pay for the soap and stuff, and pay out the employees.
Right. That's not all profit, but yeah, so I was around that, and then
so all in total, let's say you make $4,000 in the summer. Out of that $4,000, what do the expenses look like, and what's the leftover?
Yeah, $4,000 a month, $8,000, probably $8,000 in 2 months. And so expenses probably like employees, like the low ones are on like 15 an hour, higher ones are probably around like 35.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so they're being paid.
But they're doing nicer vehicles, right?
Yeah, the higher end ones, higher end jobs. So probably like if I make $4,000 a month, probably profits around like $3,000. 2.5.
Really?
$2.5 grand.
Wow. So you're making a 50% net.
And I was still washing cars too, right? I didn't just completely stop that.
Right.
But if I needed 2 jobs done in a day and I couldn't do it,
You would fill in?
Yeah, I would have them do it, yeah. But if I wasn't there, I would have them do it for me.
Did you have like a scheduling system for this, or was it just like, hey guys, I got a one at 4 o'clock, who wants it type of thing?
Yeah, it was kind of like
Really?
that.
Wow,
Sometimes
okay.
like that, but if a week in advance, I would just text my entire list. It had some recurring, but after a while, they would, if I did a job a month ago, I would just text my entire list. Like
Of past customers?
Yeah, I'd literally just go on for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And just send an automated text, and then I would get all these people ready for next week. I'm like, hey, here's the schedule for next week. Who can do it? And give them that.
So you had no CRM either. You're just totally texting these guys, direct to consumer, man.
Yeah, just doing all that. So,
That is wild. Making $3,000 a month and $2,500 a month in profit.
Yeah.
To a 50% net profit margin.
Right.
Maybe even higher. Maybe like a 60% net profit margin.
Yeah.
And to the IRS, this all happened allegedly, by the way.
Yeah, totally. My goal was to make more than my teachers. I was like, I want to make more than my teacher right now. So
I mean, if you're making $5,000 a month, you're making more than
I'm not there yet.
probably a lot of Texas teachers for sure.
Right.
Say the least. I mean, most teachers are making like 50 grand. So if you're making $4,000 a month, you got pretty dang close to doing that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Right.
No kidding. Or at least, that's ridiculous. Probably after taxes, you probably made about the same amount. I bet, if not more.
I'm not getting taxed on anything right now because.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Yeah, you're paying your taxes. You pay all of your
I pay my
taxes.
taxes. Totally. So.
Wow, that's ridiculous. Man, what a wild ride. So, knocking doors, and do you still do that? Do you still do that now? Since you've kind of got more into the editing worlds, or is it kind of like it's kind of fading away, but it's still there?
Yeah, I don't knock as much now because I'm doing this, but editing for you. But yeah, I knock once every 1 or 2 weeks, but it's not as much right now. So I'm trying to just focus on like sending my referral list, keeping recurring clients right now.
Yeah, I know. Well, it sounds like you're not going rusty anytime soon either.
Yeah.
Are you at the level of confidence now to where like if you went out, I dropped in let's say you just drove out to a random neighborhood in West Texas. Are you at the level of confidence where you can just go knock that neighborhood and not even have a second thought about it?
Yeah, it's second nature now. I just kind of just do it. So
Yeah, a bunch of my friends are in, like pest control and solar sales, and it's tough. I got to give them props. They're really fighting through some. It's a tough job to be in.
Getting rejected.
And they always tell me that the first door, the car door, is the hardest door to open that day. So you can just get out of the car before you go knock, then you're good to go. You just sit in your car on your phone procrastinating.
So many times. But you guys kind of get out there, and after like the first 1 or 2 rejections, you're kind of like, all right, it's not that bad.
So they usually say just kind of warm up to it for the day, and eventually you get more proficient. But it's still, the fear of rejection. It's only human to feel it, even after you've done it for a year, 2 years, sometimes 5, 10 years. Right. For some seasoned vets out there.
100%.
So when did you start? I remember when did you start doing editing? Was it like February, I think? Or March, roughly?
Yeah, I think around March.
So February and March, I remember you, because we had gotten, so just a quick backstory. So I met Drew in like October, November.
Yeah.
And it was because one of my past Cutco customers, ironically became my mom's hairdresser, so we came full circle. And then she was talking to my mom, was like, "Oh my gosh, this kid Drew reminds me so much of Jacob. Like you should definitely, Jacob should reach out to him." And I did, and we ended up getting some lunch just at a local burger joint. And I remember I saw your edits, and then we lived in. I don't think we talked for like 3 or like 2 more months after that.
Yeah.
And then right before school came back, we did a little shoot with the camera. Oh, you're good. You can just pull it back out. We did a little shoot at my place, and then I remember a few months later, I started up the podcast, and I remember I was like, I wonder, I need an editor. I don't know anyone who does this. I didn't know Cody at the time either. Right. I was like, what if I just text Drew? And you're like, man, I got it done.
Yeah, I got it.
So, which at the time, I remember you told me you were scrambling.
Yeah.
Looking back, which is hilarious. So what was the process of like learning kind of the short form editing process? Because I know now, like when we go to a common desk or like a coffee shop or something, I see you have the Iman Ghazi course.
Right.
Was there like a formal training that you had, or like a sort of course that you did before you started editing for me, or was it just kind of like, we're just going to pick it up, find some tips online, and let's grow?
Yeah, kind of like the bulk of it was, I learned the majority of it from just editing from like basketball and stuff, right? That first account that I had,
right?
that was the majority of it. Yeah, there were some tips on there, but yeah, some like small tips. But majority of that editing was just from basketball, and so that's really what the bulk of it was. Yeah, but there was some tips like some marketing tips, how to write a good hook.
All
that stuff. So yeah, I picked up some tips on that for like the creative process, but pretty much everything for like the video making process. I learned that from
same type of stuff from basketball.
Right.
Yeah. And now I know I'm making your job even easier because we're going to the simpler style, which YouTube right now is popping off.
Yeah, it's the best one.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday with Ryan Pineda and Brock. I'm going to forget his last name. I think Brock Turner, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
He's an Instagram growth expert, and he was saying that YouTube Shorts is just absolutely exploding right now, which, I mean, it makes sense. You know, it is the biggest platform, and YouTube Shorts is just an easier way to access that platform. Right. Because it's short-form content. Yeah. So I don't have to watch a 30-minute YouTube video now.
Right, yeah, it's definitely like one of the easier platforms to go viral on. It's pushing these things.
Meanwhile, Instagram's like contracting, it's pushing back. It's like it's so difficult to get.
Yeah, Instagram's one of the harder ones for sure, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Reels, because before Reels, it was like if you weren't already famous. You were literally not getting any traction on Instagram.
Yeah,
it was impossible.
When did they come out for Reels? It was like, I don't know.
It would have been like a year or two. I don't think it was 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, it was like 2021. They had Reels.
Oh, really? Was it 2021?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense because that's when TikTok really started getting some traction.
Yeah.
And so that's when Instagram came out to compete. Just like they stole stories from Snapchat too. Man, they are D1 thieves. Right. But hey, I mean, I can't even hate. They're doing great with it there. Yeah. So, but yeah, I know we're doing that type of content now. So what's the and you won't hurt my feelings if you say you're not working with me. Yeah. What's the future look like for Drew? I know we've got college potentially coming up in a year or potentially not.
Yeah.
And then we have, after that, we're off to the races there. Do you have a vision for yourself of what you're doing in the next few years? Is it anything in particular, or is it just kind of you're going to develop the right skills now and see where it takes you?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking of like expanding this right now, so like getting other clients for the editing. So that's what I'm definitely thinking, to get an agency going, maybe hire other editors.
Yeah, I can't blame you.
Yeah, start some social media management, stuff like that. So that's definitely the plan. And I think I'm gonna just continue knocking doors on the side to try and scale that, definitely. Yeah,
I mean, if you're making $1,000 a month in profit, just casually, it can't hurt. Yeah. Yeah,
I think college, like, it's definitely good if you want to be like some specialized industry, something like an engineer or lawyer. I think definitely college is good, but I think a lot of people just go to college and they don't ever know what they're doing. Like some trash degree that doesn't help you at all. Right? Yeah. So why would I go get a
shout out art history majors? Yeah.
Yeah, like why would I get a degree that doesn't help me in anything I want to do?
Right.
So if I go to college, definitely it's be something for a specialized field that I can't do outside of college. But like if I want to be an entrepreneur, you can self-study and learn from other people who've done it outside of college. And I think like a lot of like college, they're teaching like outdated stuff, right? Like AI. No college in the United States is teaching AI, I don't think. Is there?
I mean, I'm taking a class right now through A&M, but it's technically through, ironically, one of the softwares that I use, SEMrush, Search Engine Marketing Rush. And it's through them, and they are in our last class we were going over UGC, user generated content versus AI, but that's not really a formal like Texas A&M class.
Right.
I mean? So to answer your question, I think you're right. I don't think there are any actual classes that are teaching AI right now.
Yeah, so I mean it's just kind of outdated stuff. But I mean if you want to be a specialized field, definitely. But if you were trying to be like an entrepreneur, I don't think a lot of the stuff and the connections though, that's another important thing. Right. If I were to go, like learning, being able to meet other entrepreneurs there at the
I mean, A&M's networking is second to none. Literally.
Yeah, and they got like parents who can invest in your company and stuff like that. So that's definitely a positive of college. 100%.
Yeah, I will say, it's finding entrepreneurs in college. It is rare. But ever since I joined the Student Business Owners Association with Cody and with some of my friends like Chris too and Logan. It has been a lot easier finding. There are those networks in there. You just kind of have to. You gotta go look for them though.
What do you think about a fraternity? Like, is there entrepreneurs?
Rush Pike, baby,
dude. Yeah.
So obviously I'm biased. Yeah. I mean, I personally, I didn't rush for. I get a bad rap from some of my pledge brothers because they're like, oh, you just rush for the connections. That was an added benefit. right? I get connected to other well-educated people from other great backgrounds with also great connections. But frankly, I just wanted to get plugged in, and I wanted to make some friends. So, and my dad was in a fraternity too. Man, I'm going to expose myself. I'm going to get pegged to some rich brat on Instagram after this. So my dad was a Pike too, and so my mom was in Greek life. They suggested that I rush. I went through the process, and the guys that I found in Pike, I aligned with and got along with them better than any other group. So, and to this day, I personally didn't take advantage enough of it. I think just because I worked too much. There is such thing as working too much, and I worked too much in college and sacrificed some of my social life, which I wish I could go back and change in some aspects and be more strategic with my time. But at the end of the day, I would say that the friendships and the joy that I got out of spending time with other like-minded guys in college, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right. Have those connections helped you at all? Have you met investors or people, important parents who can help you for business right now?
Through just my fraternity, my chapter of 200 and plus guys at A&M. Right. Yes. So get this. So my big, and my pledge dad is what they're called. Steven, he now we now work together doing SEO. Mm-hmm. So we work together there. A couple of my friends like Jacob Blakeney, he does door-to-door, and I actually introduced him to his job that he does now with some door-to-door sales, and he's absolutely crushing. He's also an extremely talented individual as well. Jacob Blakeney was there. I met my first few roommates in my house from my fraternity as well. Great group of guys, Rich, Ethan, and Ben. They were great. It was super fun living together with them. And actually, we just made another hire for a developer, a programmer, a coder, and I got him because I actually posted in the national fraternity Facebook group, and I said ISO in search of programmer who can code in CSS, JavaScript, HTML, and sure enough, found a guy who was a Pike, and I believe it. St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, or Kansas, one of the two. So strictly based off connections, absolutely worth it. I wouldn't have two key and cornerstone employees or two cornerstone freelancers in my business if I didn't do that.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But I wouldn't rush. I wouldn't go in a fraternity for the connections. I would go in if you're looking to just get around like-minded guys and build a group of friends.
Because a lot of gurus they shit on college and stuff. Which I don't think if you're going there for connections, I think it can be valuable depending on who you are. Yeah,
and that's one of the big reasons that if not the biggest reason that keeps me at A&M is I just keep meeting awesome people. And I mean, you've probably seen this. I don't know if we've been if we were together when this happened, but every time I go into Fort Worth, actually, anytime I just go out in general and I'm wearing A&M attire, whether it's socks or a polo, or I have my backpack out that says BTHO finals, beat the hell out of finals. It's like an A&M saying. Every time I have A&M stuff out, I always run into someone who's like, gig 'em. Right. Or they'll come up and say, Whoop 86 or something like that. And I'm like, Whoop 24.
And you wouldn't have that connection if you didn't go to college, right? So,
I definitely wouldn't. So
depending on the person, I think.
Yeah, but of course, and this is only human to just play out the scenarios. What would have happened if I didn't go?
Didn't go, right.
Because there is something to be said of if you're going to a 5,000 person D3 college to go study business administration, and you're just going there for connections. Yeah. You're gonna get more connections out of just doing business, out of actually working and going, whether it's working for somebody else or working for yourself. So there's always that possibility I play out in my mind of would I have made more connections if I connections that I have access to now and built good relationships that I wouldn't be in college? Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have actually been able to have a social life in my youth. I say youth, I'm still 22. I still have a lot ahead of me as an 18 to 22 year old, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Right. So I'm personally glad I went to college, but it is tougher up there. So, but some closing remarks so I can quit rambling here. Yeah. Just some closing remarks. So Drew, where can someone find you if they want to contact you, they want to ask you questions, or they just want to see what you're up to?
Yeah, on TikTok, it's Andrew.Friedman.
Okay.
So that's my personal brand. And then, on Instagram, it's Drew.Friedman. And so, definitely. If you
Perfect.
hit me up.
Any last closing remarks for the audience here? If anyone, so specifically for this audience, if anyone's watching and like, man, if this 17-year-old kid can do it, I can freaking do it. What do you have to say to that person who's on the fence? Maybe they're not sure if they're fit out to start a business. What's your advice for that person?
They cut us out long.
I'm putting you on the spot here for some free consulting.
Yeah, I just think, I think you got to get over the fear of rejection. That's the biggest thing, right? So any way you can face rejection in your life. So if it's door-to-door sales, go do that. If it's reaching out to a client, even if you have a job, I think apply for a job that you don't think you can get. If you get comfortable with rejection, then you can pursue other things. So I think that's the most important thing. Once you get comfortable with rejection, then you can start refining your skills and learn how to, get other opportunities past that.
Absolutely. So that's probably what holds most people back is want to be entrepreneurs too, is just the fear of not succeeding.
And there's no real risk, right? If you try something and you fail, you're in the same position you were before, right? So it's like there's no real risk to it, right? You're not going to die. Your life's not going to end.
And that's like you're staking your family reputation on the line or anything. Yeah.
Like unless you do something like absurd, like don't do something like crazy, but it's
don't go
get canceled, but I just think definitely. And then another thing, like attention economy, right? We live in an attention economy. If you can draw attention,
attention economy. I haven't heard
you can monetize it, right? So maybe you're not good at speaking to a camera. Well, then learn and be like the blood and guts underneath that. So be able to the guy who manages the speaker, right? So if you know someone who's a great speaker, be the guy who films them and edits them and markets them, right? So if you can just learn to draw attention, you can monetize that. 100%.
Interesting. Any last things here? I know we're running close on time. Any last resources you would suggest that people interested in either marketing or sales or entrepreneurship look into? Yeah,
I think a lot of online schools right now.
Okay.
So a lot of these influencers, they have online schools. I think there's no risk.
Courses always get a bad rap, but a lot of them are really good. You do have to do your homework, but some of them are really good.
Right, and what's the worst that happens? You pay like $50 and then it's not good, right?
Yeah.
So
no, I've spent like $5,000 probably on online schools myself, and they were all worth it for sure.
Right, and you don't lose that information ever, right? So you can use that information and make more money. So I think just if it's like $50, the price of lunch.
Yeah.
So I really don't think there's no risk to that. You should be educating, and once you self-educate, that stuff can be taken away from you. Money can be taken away from you, right? But if you self-educate, you can use that and just turn it into more money. So. Yeah, 100%.
No, you're not wrong there. Absolutely. Well, y'all, Drew Friedman, our first high school CEO on the podcast, kicking off season 2 of The College CEO. Drew, thanks for dropping by, man.
Appreciate it.
Good.
Yeah.
And that is a wrap